Can I ask you about the game, the performance and the result? That must be really pleasing first off.
Yeah. Obviously, we actually started the game well, and then with their first attack, a goal behind. So if you knew you were going to win by 5, that would be a good test to be experiencing. At the time, not so much fun. But I thought we've talked to them all week about total belief in the way that we play, and they stuck with that. The way, our attacking threat across the 2 games has been exceptional. And the key to the game today was quite simple. We had to keep our wingers really wide and keep feeding the ball to them. And sometimes it seems it's too easy to do that. We slightly overcomplicated it. Once we got the ball to them, and they were just outstanding, the 2 of them. So really pleased. Lots of encouraging things. Young players who've come in and done an exceptional job, and a lot for us to take forward as a group, given we had a lot of hurdles to overcome in getting a squad together, and people have really stepped up, and I'm very proud of the group of players.
Gareth, obviously we know about the racism that was aimed at some of the players. How upset are you and the players, and what's kind of the process now?
Yeah, firstly, very sad. We had an excellent performance, and you've got an 18-year-old being interviewed after the game, and he's having to respond to what's happened when his evening should be about the joy of his full debut. I heard, I didn't hear during the early part of the game, but I'm told there was things in the early part of the game as well. But I certainly heard when Danny Rose was booked, and it's unacceptable. I've spoken to our players individually. We've got to support them. We will report it, but I think that reporting is already in place because so many people in other areas of the ground have heard it. I believe the UEFA delegate also heard it. So our part will be to make sure that process is followed. But more importantly for me is that the players in the dressing room know that as a group of staff and as an organisation we're there for them, and that's the most important thing.
Gareth, how did your players deal with it at half-time and at full-time? What is the appropriate punishment, and what is the long-term solution to these problems, please?
I wasn't aware of anything at half-time. Nothing was discussed, so I wasn't aware until about 15 minutes ago that there was chanting in the first half as well. In terms of the sanctions, look, really, I don't think I'm in a position to be able to comment on what that can or should be, It's clearly, from my perspective, an unacceptable situation. But I don't, I'm not the right person to ask what the sanctions should be. Frankly, I don't know what's possible, and I don't know what the levels could be. So I think better that people that are more closely involved in those processes are able to articulate that in a better way than I can.
Gareth, the Montenegro manager claimed not to have heard it at all, just repeatedly claimed not to have heard it, as did their representative from the Football Association in here. Does that just underline the uphill battle that we have? I mean, and in 2019, can you believe that this is even something we're having to talk about?
I don't think I need to comment on what was said. It was clear to everybody that that there were comments made. So, reflecting on my answer about sanctions, sanctions are only of any use if they lead to education, and sanctions are worthless if there is nothing alongside that to help educate people. My kids don't think for 1 minute about where people are born, what language they speak, what colour they are. There's an innocence about young people that is only influenced by older people. So we have to make sure that the education is right for everybody. In our country, the same. I've said this before, I'm not sitting here just criticising what's happened tonight, because in our country we have the same issue. We're not free of it. And you can sanction clubs, but frankly that's not going to stop one or two people who are of a mindset from doing what they want to do. So we have to make sure that we educate young people, because we have a better chance with young people, and then we've got to lead that as far and as wide as we possibly can.
England have been through this in places like Zagreb, Madrid, Serbia, obviously here, and numerous other places. Don't you think, I mean, UEFA and FIFA, you know, very rarely do anything. It's a small fine, a threat of suspension. Don't you think it's now time that you, as England coach, have to shame the hosts and actually take the players off?
I'm not 100% certain that would be what the players would want. There would be a mix of views in terms of, when we've discussed the topic in the past, how the players would like it to be dealt with. And, you know, for all of them, they just want to play football. Of course, we have the chance to have an impact, but yeah, Henry, I don't have the answer, frankly. I'm sitting trying to find the right balance of my disgust, and recognising that differing views of the players in terms of their experiences of the past. I think my role is to support and protect my players as much as possible, first and foremost, is to speak in the position I am in the right way. Beyond that, maybe that's something else I'd have to consider in the future. I have to say it wasn't something that came to mind at the time, and I would want to have a long discussion with my players before, to make sure that was a course of action they felt was A, something they wanted to do, and B, they thought was going to make a difference.
Gareth, this is more about how the lads handle things. Raheem went off at the end wearing a Montenegro shirt. I think he was the only one who did it. Was it kind of him, or I don't know whether you've spoken to him, was it him trying to send the message that people like this can never win? And Danny had been through something similar in Serbia 6 years ago. I don't know how he was and how he handled it. But he seemed, you know, very controlled when he went off. Have you spoken to them, and how did you feel they handled everything?
Yeah, I have spoken with both of them. I can't answer for them in terms of why they swap shirts, or what the messages they were or weren't trying to send. So I just think it's a really sad evening. You know, I'm reflecting on, should I have done more? You know, in the end, I think I try to protect my players as much as I possibly can. I'm not the authority on the subject. I'm a middle-aged white guy speaking about racism. It's not something that I really have. Yeah, I just finding it a really difficult subject to broach, because I want my players to enjoy playing football and not be scarred by the experiences. And if people feel I should have done more, then I can only apologise for that. I think I've spoken out constantly against the subject. I think I've supported all of the education programmes in our own country, and I think I manage every player as well as I possibly can, regardless of which club they're from, what their roots are. So, yeah, I just feel I'm yeah, because it's very difficult to find the appropriate words, and there are so many aspects to the subject, and so many my knowledge of my own players, and how some of them won't even want to speak about it. Some of them will feel it's right to speak about it. So, I'm more concerned at this moment in time with them, for them. And yeah, I don't. At this moment, I'm finding it a difficult subject to get the right tone and the right approach.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Please stay for one more question. I think I'm sorry, but I think I didn't want to ask the question. But how this press conference went, I simply have to ask another thing. But I hope that you are leaving Montenegro as one hospitable country, the country that has nice tourist offer, that the people here welcomed you very well. You won the game. We haven't spoken a lot about the game. We spoke about the incident that was caused by 2, 3, 5 or 10 people. The football was played for majority, for the fans. We had more than 10,000 fans here at the stadium. We had more than 10 million people on the TV. I heard some of the implications to withdraw the team. Would we withdraw the team? And in that way, all the people, the spectators, would not enjoy the game between the England side and Montenegro. For Montenegro, this is a holiday, like a holiday that such a big, huge side comes to visit, and we have the chance to look at the person, the players that we are looking on in the TV and the Premiership. So for us, you have to understand, we don't have the ability, we are not able to see that very often. And also to congratulate about the great game that England played, and to comment how Raheem Sterling was unplayable today. They could not, in any way, they could not control Sterling, who inspired the English team to win with such a huge margin.
Okay. I think a lot of your observations are absolutely right. I don't leave here thinking that all Montenegrin people were responsible for what happened. We had a hugely warm welcome. The majority of the crowd were right behind the team, passionate, proud for their country, and we have exactly the same situation in England. The majority of our people support the teams in the way that your people did tonight, and we have a few people in the same way that you had that let people down. So absolutely, I don't leave here with an impression of Montenegro that is lower. We've been made very welcome. It's a beautiful country. The team, were tough opposition for a large part of the game, and unfortunately, a few people have let you down. We have exactly the same, and I'm always quick to make the point that in our country we still have a lot to do.
Thank you.